To always keep the name of God on the lips or in the mind is not the whole thing in the matter of God remembrance. Constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such ceases. Thereafter, you maintain a steady consciousness of the indwelling reality. Self surrender denotes this supreme state. To always keep the name of God on the lips or in the mind is not the whole thing in the matter of God remembrance. Constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such ceases. Thereafter, you maintain a steady consciousness of the indwelling reality. Self surrender denotes the supreme state. Can we decipher anything? This is very important for all of us because we are all chanting God's name. We are also nowadays trying to chant mentally. We have some concept about attributes, some concept about remembrance. So he throws some light. What is that? Remembrance as such ceases. To always keep the name of God on the lips and in the mind is not the whole thing in the matter of God remembrance. Constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such ceases. Thereafter, you maintain a steady consciousness of the indwelling reality. Self surrender denotes this supreme state.
Nama is the ladder, like he said in the other thing. Nama is the ladder that takes us further to the consciousness of Him. And then
That is okay. Or drawing from our experience, what does it mean?
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Swamiji, two things. Number one, that we are doing japa, we are remembering God. A stage will come when that remembrance also ceases. So this is one thing. And second thing, Swamiji, what I was thinking earlier, that
she said the first thing is a stage will come and remembrance also ceases.
That's what Papa says. We are trying to understand how.
Second thing is what, Sakshi?
You try. You make it short. Otherwise, first thing I cannot hear the whole thing. So in split doses you have to give.
Yes, sir. Second thing, Swamiji, I was thinking that you have to self-surrender and then that stage will come. But here Papa is saying that this is the stage that leads to self-surrender.
She thought self-surrender leads to that state, but Papa says
that state itself is self-surrender. Another aspect that
remove all we have. Papa has given a statement. With that statement, we will try to go within and find out for ourselves what exactly it could mean.
Yes, sir.
Let it be from our effort.
There can be no silence as long as there is a seeker.
There can be no silence as long as there is a seeker.
Okay.
One thought brings to no thought. Well, we chant Ram.
One thought leads to no thought.
No, Swamiji, when you
One
are,
thought leads to no thought. Okay. They are all pointing out. Yes.
when we reach the awareness state, then there is no need for remembrance left. So automatically the remembrance dissolves because you just are.
Again, these are all our intellect is interpreting.
It's interpreting the statement for coming.
That will not help us. And first, Papa kept telling that when you chant, you must also dwell on the attributes. And it was difficult for many of us to do it simultaneously. So during the off hours, during the sattvic moments, we used to try to dwell on the attributes. And then chanting is going on. Side by side, it was difficult. It has not been attempted at all. Okay. So when we dwell on his attributes, it makes us feel that we are trying to remember him. At the time of chanting, we don't know whether anybody remembers that we are remembering the chanting. Now he says, those are all right, but that is not the full thing. To always keep the name of God on the lips or in the mind is not the whole thing in the matter of God remembrance. Constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such ceases. Thereafter, you maintain a steady consciousness of the indwelling reality. Self surrender denotes the supreme state. So let us try now, no? Today morning, okay, you can sit there. Today morning, as we were when we entered Bhajan Hall, and when we were to share some words of wisdom of Papa, suddenly we were led to this particular quotation from the book Glimpses of the Divine Vision. We were going through this, suddenly here, we were reading. Then we thought we should place it before you all, so that though we may not get the answer from the mental intellectual level, or a few may have derived something from their experiential level also. But if it has not come to us at the experiential level, this might give a push. Not that we are searching for an answer. It's being placed before every sadhaka. It's a very, very beautiful and vital aspect. Remembrance as such goes. When God consciousness stays with us. If we get a clue, it will help us while we take to chanting of God's name.
when we chant slowly, when we are chanting with complete mind, so our chanting goes with our breath. With each breathing, chanting goes. So finally, we reach to the breathing source, and we are merged in it.
Yes, that also good. What he said also good, because the seeker, these are all, whether it is an intellectual assessment or that is important. Again, if we suppose we rely on the intellect to interpret this word, we may not be able to. So each one has to check up. When we try this nama chanting, especially mentally, and then what happens in us, and whether it is leading us. We are not questioning to anybody. We are not putting this question to anybody for any answer. Whether it gives some more clarity in our process, prior to this, that para also we will read. Probably it might give some. The secret of tapasya and solitude lies in your feeling about them. The moment you realize that all your activities and works belong to the Supreme Lord of your heart and of the universe, you will become conscious that you are at once in solitude in the midst of the crowd and that you have reached the end of all tapasya. Believe in all things that you do, you are driven by a power which is all masterful, all loving, all beneficent. Don't crave for a state of external renunciation of activity, but for the victory of peace and resignation in the midst of activity. This is possible when you are grounded in the truth that you are merely a willing and submissive instrument. To always keep the name of God on the lips or in the mind is not the whole thing in the matter of God. Remember, constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such ceases. Thereafter, you maintain a steady consciousness of the indwelling reality. Self-surrender denotes this supreme state. If this has registered in our mind, I think that itself is the answer. Because each one has to experience this. Not allowing the intellect to interpret. If we allow the intellect to interpret, it is again away from the experience.
When we keep on chanting Swamiji for a long period, so a state comes when both the subject and the object they merge, and we are.
There is nobody to remember.
There is nobody to. A state
Yeah.
that comes somehow.
I think that is a practical way of explaining it. There is nobody to remember. Remembrance as such means somebody is there to remember.
Both subject and object.
Please think about it. As I said, it's not for the answer. It is something, when we take to this chanting of God's name, we may be having some concept of remembering Him, Today my mind was going elsewhere, I was not remembering Him, something like that. So remembrance as such.
Has to be very intense, from
He said that remembrance first has to be very intense, only then it will lead to that.
then you can reach this state. I have experienced it sometimes.
So we experience.
Maybe leaving to everybody, realization of God is the fruit of self-surrender. Handing yourself over to Him totally, with the result that you have no care or anxiety left to harass your mind. So long as you are impatient and fretful, you push away from you the goal of attainment. So long as you are impatient and fretful, you push away from you the goal of attainment. Be calm, self-sufficient, and then you are face to face with your ideal. The secret of tapasya and solitude lies in your feeling about them. The secret of tapasya and solitude lies in your feeling about them. Them means tapasya and solitude. The moment you realize that all your activities and works belong to the Supreme Lord of your heart and of the universe, you will become conscious that you are at once in solitude in the midst of the crowd and that you have reached the end of all tapasya. Believe in all things that you do, you are driven by a power which is all masterful, all loving, all beneficent. Don't crave for a state of external renunciation of activity, but for the victory of peace and resignation in the midst of activity. This is possible when you are grounded in the truth that you are merely a willing and submissive instrument. So when we read that, we feel that we have our mind with us, to help us. That is because it is because of the mind that we are now talking or you are hearing. So now the mind is trying to draw the inspiration that okay, I am chanting the name, I am trying to remember him, but oh mind, take me to a state where I become always aware that he is making the individual to do everything. When this gets stamped on all my thoughts, words, and deeds, remembrance as such will not be there. Papa interpreted it in the way of will, that's all, same thing. What is his will now? He is able to say that whatever uh, that has to be done by him, he willed, that's all. His will is that Ramdas will get up now, go to the carpenter shed, come back, sit in the pachodi and wait for the evening mail. In Papa's case, reached, we may feel, we remember it. Why, we say his will. No. So the chapter is self-surrender. The small self is surrendered to the. So when does it happen? Very difficult, because in all of us the sense of individuality is so strong. Immediately one thought pulls us up. Like that also, we have seen Papa's case. So something for all of us to deeply from doing seva or outside, being a devotee or sadhaka. Somebody may be grihastha, somebody may be professional, somebody may be social beings. And in ashram, somebody may be feeling I am doing some seva. All those things, keep it. Thing is, are we clear about the
Through constant remembrance, we have to remember that it is He who is making us to do. We are not the doer. When ego goes, ego should go away. Once ego goes, and He makes.
It has not gone, It is becoming more and more clearer. Could you give us this complicated? He says, when we sit silently, we have to be conscious in the first place that the God we seek is in our own heart. Whether that itself is clear to us, we don't know. Then mentally repeat his name, make the mind repeat the name until all its waves cease and it becomes perfectly still. If it does not easily become still, we have to continue the repetition of the name mentally with an attitude of self surrender. We try to develop a witness consciousness. It is a state of awareness of the immortal and radiant truth within us. In fact, this awareness itself is God realization. Once again, we repeat. When we sit silently, we have to be conscious in the first place that the God we seek is in our own heart. Then mentally repeat his name. Make the mind repeat the name until all its waves cease and it becomes perfectly still. If it does not easily become still, we have to continue the repetition of the name mentally with an attitude of self surrender. The self surrender we read now. We try to develop a witness consciousness. It is a state of awareness of what is witness consciousness? It is a state of awareness of the immortal and radiant truth within us. In fact, this awareness itself is God realization. These are to throw some more light. Oh, he is guiding us. So what we feel is the first one, are we clear? We have to check up. Each one has to check up. When can it become clear? When we sit silently, we have to be conscious in the first place that the God we seek is in our own heart. If that is not clear, whatever we do, it may not take us there. That is why Papa used to say attribute, 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 attribute.
Now, could it be that there are times when we are doing some things,
Doing?
we are doing something, but we are aware that it is not being done by us as such. Huh? And when we are doing that, that maybe when we are identifying not with the activity or with what is happening, but with the witness in a way.
It
And
could be.
if that is the thing, that means at times we are able to segregate the two and it's happening on its own.
Do you think that once in a way when it comes, it is the real thing? Because if it is the real thing, it should stay with us, It stays with us. It becomes a part of us. So self surrender. Self surrender means I am not doing, he is doing, I am made to do. He gave me a sense of individuality. He is functioning through me. That only that person will know.
One has to be choicelessly aware of, choicelessly aware.
Concentration. But when we give up and leave it to him, just it is you who will be making them. We close the eyes, automatically we get established in there.
Slogan number 53 in 11th chapter. Naham vedairna tapasa, na danena, na chejya, shakya evam vido drashtvam. Drishtva vanasi mam yatha. What you have seen, Arjuna, Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, when he shows the Vishwarupa, what you have seen, it is not acquired or attained by tapas or yaga or dhanam or any other of your activities. So all our activities, all sadhana, everything, it is not that we will gain because of that. Intuition start comes. When you were telling this, just before you came, you were contemplating on this sloga. In a small town, there lived an elderly woman named Meera, who was known for her deep devotion to God. For years, she performed all the traditional rituals, studying scriptures, fasting, giving charity, participating in every temple ceremony. Yet, despite her sincere efforts, she often felt that something was missing in her spiritual journey. She longed for a deeper connection with the divine, a vision or sign that her devotion was being acknowledged. One evening, after a particular long day of rituals and prayers, Meera sat quietly in her little prayer room, feeling exhausted and somewhat disheartened. As she lit the simple lamp flickering before her altar, she let go of all expectations, rituals, even her longing for a vision. Even her longing for a vision. In that moment of surrender, her heart filled with pure love and humility, she simply sat in silence, thinking only of God with childlike faith. Suddenly she felt an overwhelming sense of peace and joy, as if the divine presence filled the room. Though she did not see any grand vision, her heart was flooded with a bliss she had never known before. In that stillness, she realized that the divine is not attained by external rituals asked her about God, but it was only when I let go of all methods and simply loved that I truly felt his presence. So here Papa says the feeling, believe in all that you do, you are driven by a power which is masterful, all-loving, beneficent. The secret of tapasya and solitude lies in your feeling about them. Devotion. Papa was able to blend this, jnana and bhakti. Uh, One saint was telling in Chennai, he was referring to Papa's spiritual attainment. So he said there are two aspects, Saguna and Nirguna, and Papa's was pure Guna, but at the same time it is mixed with devotion. Normally, when we take to this Nirguna path, the intellect becomes vibrant, active, and the feeling aspect slowly, unknowingly drains itself. So after some time, we are again back to square one. So Papa's unique method was, though on the Nirguna Nirakar aspect, he did not, unlike other bhaktas or bhaktotamas or saints, who have realized through the darshan of Lord Ramchandramurti of Ayodhya, he did not have anything like that. So his was purely Nirguna. That is also there. Bhadrajaram Ramadas, or so many bhaktas are there who have realized through the form, Tyagabrahma, Saint Tyagaraja. To him, Sagunamurti was there. But Papa's was Nirguna. But at the same time, Nirguna was not without this feeling. So we are all now asked in a subtle way by Papa, you through this chapter, you bring in this feeling, not the thoughts. You bring in that feeling. The heart should well up with feelings for him. Which how can it come? Only when we become humble, no? When we are 100% convinced that even these words are coming because of him, because he makes the heart to beat, he makes the blood to circulate. That's why the brain is working and he is instructing the mouth to utter these words. Anyway, again, we have no other word, but please think. To somehow improve the quality of our sadhana. Very subtle, deep. And he has put it as if, this must have been culled out from letters. From what we understand, glimpses were culled from the unpublished letters of the years 33, 34, and 35 of Swami Ramdas and arranged under appropriate headings by the devotee. So this must have been, that means, after scaling the heights when sadhakas were seeking clarification from him, he must have replied. Some for the sake of all of us, God prompted some devotee to preserve those letters and pass it on to the compiler, and then they have beautifully, unlike today, where facilities are there, everything has to be typed out, and they have to arrange it in an order and categorize it and all those things. I think this was done, they say, dedicated with humble pranams to my beloved Sadgurudev on the occasion of his 61st birthday. Oh, 61st. That means in 45. 1945, this was presented. Bhavani Shankar Rao. He took the lead of organizing this. Oh, that means 45. Pah. But the letters must have been prior to 45.
He's written 36, 35, 36, 38.
No, that is.
35, 36.
Eh?
The letters are of 34, 35, and 36.
19. 33, 34, and 35. That means immediately after setting up this ashram. 33, 34, 35. Hot from his 1931 this was set up. So 33, 34, 35.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes.
Swamiji, can I share my understanding?
She wants to share her understanding.
Yeah. All are welcome to do so. We are all trying to learn something, Yeah.
Yes, Swamiji. Swamiji, what Papa is talking about two types of self-surrender.
Huh?
One is, the ultimate aim is that the human consciousness, which we call ego, or the sense of individuality, we have to transcend that. This is our main aim. And Papa has given us a way. So, what ego, or what we have to do is, we have to first have an attitude of self-surrender. When we have an attitude of self-surrender, this is what would help us transcend this human consciousness and lead to God consciousness. And when that happens, this God consciousness is what leads to the actual self-surrender. So, Swamiji, what I have done is I have combined the first thought that Papa gave you today morning and you shared with us, and now the second thought, the two thoughts which where you shared with us about self-surrender. And also the story of Veera that you shared with us. When we combine all these three things together, this is what I understand as to what Papa is trying to tell us. He has given us a map. He has given us a way how to ensure that our japa, our mental chanting, is not mechanical. Mental chanting is when we have we should be doing mental chanting with the attitude of self surrender. This attitude of self surrender, who has to have this attitude? We, the human consciousness, and that is going to help us lead to God consciousness. So, I mean, this is what I understand. Swamiji, please guide.
Guidance will come from within. He makes us to bring out all these doubts, and that is, he makes us to feel the earth churning. So all these are valid, but let us keep on churning, with a prayer to him. Kindly reveal. I think probably we can put it like that, along with our whatever discipline, every now and then, as much as possible, not only in our sadhana, right from the moment we get up in the morning till we retire to bed, whenever and wherever it is possible, without tom-tomming, we try to bring in this dimension. Suppose we try to do only during chanting, it will be a failure.
Yes, Swamiji.
So we try, right from the moment we get up. That is why they say, the moment you get up, you chant to remember him. Before you actually, when you are made to know that you are going to sleep, chant. So that the remembrance. You have given me one more day. You make me to forget about your presence, but you also make me to remember. Why don't you please make me feel that even this forgetting and remembering is because of you. I am not asking you any big thing, very simple thing. That forgetting you and remembering you are given by you. In 15th chapter, he says that. We were interpreting it that normally what we understand as remembrance or forgetfulness. Sarvasya, this sort of comes from, a feeling. Because we are trying to understand that as an individual, with the mind, body, mind, intellect, I cannot travel beyond certain level. Though he has given me a sense of individuality to function, he is also making me aware that it can function only for the work he is allotting to us. To know him, I cannot use this. All these things
Swamiji,
are.
in the morning, before we get up from the bed, when we put our foot down, it is the Ramnam that is waking us up. So that time we know that it is he who is waking us up in the morning, more than the alarm clock.
Yeah. Correct. somewhere you have to, then when we know that it is slowly becoming a part of our routine, the next one is we are trying to bring in the dimension of feeling for him. And ensuring that during our day's activities, not merely the labeled spiritual practices. Labeled spiritual practices means, going to the puja room, going to the temple, going to the ashram, chanting his name, doing bhajan, reading, swadhyay. These are all the labeled spiritual practices. Let me not limit this concept only during this labeled time, but please make me aware throughout. When we keep on praying, at least 1%, half percent, we may be able to remember. Slowly, that can become a habit in us. And this is for all of us to think and then pray to him. Pray to him that I'm slowly now realizing that the sense of individuality has been given to me to work out your will to your creation. But to know him, I have to let go of all these things. We got confused about it. So we were thinking that all these things are necessary. It's unnecessary, no doubt, to know that. That is why now Papa's words are becoming very, very clear. Sadhana is to know that by sadhana alone, you cannot realize it. Sadhana is to know that by sadhana alone, we cannot realize it. You remember that word? All are keeping mum. Because each expression of Papa is fully pregnant with these sublime teachings. Sadhana
Yes,
is to
Swamiji. Yes.
sadhana is to know that by sadhana alone you cannot realize it. I think that is okay.
Swamiji,
Ah,
Papa's teaching is a repository. One day, slowly it will be released.
It's a repository.
Slow
Every day
release.
something is releasing something.
because nowadays, when we go to Bhajan hall, we have the Ramnam session not in the centenary hall. Somebody suggested, why don't you have it in the Bhajan hall itself? Okay, so we start off going there, 6:40, we go to Bhajan hall, 6:45 or something. Pahate Chale will be at the last one. So suddenly he says, Vaya, do you know Marathi? No. Then you are chanting, So what does it mean? So then we started reading the meaning, very touching. And afterwards, we start chanting. Before chanting, he says, why are you chanting? So we share something, 2 or 3 lines. And then the vocal chanting starts. Somebody leads, we chant. Then exactly at 7 o'clock, it comes to a close. Then the time for mental chanting. So we also mentioned Papa's words about the importance of mental chanting. And then we try. Mind may go here and there. We try. 15 minutes, so that at least 1 or 2 minutes we will be able to really get something about it. And the mind has been trained to go along the tune. And at 7:15, we take any book that comes to us. 2, 3 books will be kept nearby. Then Papa will make us to go through, and one particular place he will ask us to read. When we read, it is something for deep thinking, nothing at the easy level. Keep it, you don't understand, doesn't matter. Keep it, ponder, reflect, contemplate, meditate. And he also prompts us, share it in the satsang. Because this is probably the crux, the main core of our sadhana. The purpose of our sadhana is to attain this. Self-surrender, self-surrender, self-surrender. Rest of the things are any method you use. But we should know the destination. No, destination is where we try, where the our journey should take us there. Okay, that much for the time being. On a lighter vein, we will go back to some articles.
Swamiji, how can we develop feeling and devotion? Sometimes we become dry.
Sometimes we become dry. How to develop a feeling?
Feeling, that is why shlokas, thinking about what all have been blessed with us. Just to close and watch this heartbeat, that's what we feel, no? Straight away. Please stop. It won't stop. If it stops, I will not be here. So slowly it comes, So I'm existing because of an activity of the heart, and that activity cannot by itself do that. We have also seen dead bodies. Oh, so you are there, enlivening principle. And bereft of that, thoughts, words, and deeds will not come. Something like that, no? Something like that. The blood circulates, the digestion takes place, the breathing goes on. All these things we were intellectually trying to understand, not experientially. If it experientially feels, it will stay with us. The other one is knowledge. This is an applied knowledge. So let us keep on pondering and praying to Him. He will. Where are we now? Any idea? Banana leaf. Banana, that is over. Amplifier or over? Eh? No. Banana leaf, see-through. Mirror. A mirror reflects our outer, I think we are covered. A mirror. But over what? Technically we can say over. But a mirror reflects our outer appearance, showing us exactly what stands before it. But it also offers us a deeper lesson in self-awareness, encouraging us to look within. Just as a mirror can only show a true reflection when it is clean, our minds must believe a dictionary holds words. Yet it speaks nothing by itself. It waits for the seeker. It teaches us that knowledge does not shout. It simply is ready for those who are curious and humble enough to look. Every word inside points to understanding, just as every experience in life carries a meaning if we are willing to search. The dictionary reminds us wisdom is quiet, patient, always available to those who value depth over noise. Depth, D-E-P-T-H. Depth over noise, encouraging us to be still, seek knowledge, and embrace the quiet strength of understanding. Today we were translating one word of Papa to Malayalam. We were finding it difficult to get the appropriate word. Mosaic, no? However much we try, we don't get that. So then our Google Baba is there, not help. So he says, veritable mosaic, Bhagavad Gita is a veritable mosaic. When we first learned the word mosaic, at that time, the flooring, people say mosaic flooring. So we thought this is called mosaic. None of us care because we did not have any college education. So there was no opportunity for us to know all these words. So the moment somebody said mosaic, we tried to understand what is meant by mosaic. That this is mosaic. So many. Oh, the other one is red oxide, no? Red oxide. We were all having red oxide only. So when we started growing and seeing other 80s in others' rooms, those who are well off, only they can afford to have. So this is mosaic, this is mosaic, this is mosaic. And later on only we were prompted to check with the dictionary. But to get an appropriate word for Malayalam. So today morning Baba said, നാനാ വർണ്ണമായ അനേക ഘടകങ്ങൾ ചേർത്തുണ്ടാക്കിയ ഒന്നിനെ മൊസൈക്ക് എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. So many assorted things have veritable mosaic, genuine mosaic. And what is for mosaic? Picture or pattern produced by arranging together small pieces of colored stone tile glass, and then a colorful pattern resembling a mosaic, an arrangement photosensitive elements in a television camera, a virus disease that results in leaf very small pieces of colored stones. So why we, the dictionary gives us some meaning. Veritable mosaic, genuine collection of different types of radiance, but variance, okay, variance and radiance, everything is there. So the idea is now when we look at Bhagavad Gita, it immediately makes us clear that what is meant by mosaic. He is not only on one particular aspect, from life to death it is there. From activities, self-centered activities to noble activities it is there. Nothing that he has omitted in it. If he's not talking only about the positive side. The so-called positive and negative are also included in it. So when we start this particular word, forgetfulness and remembrance, everything is correct. That word itself, that sloga itself will clearly make us understand what is this mosaic. Smriti Jnanam Apohanam. Remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness.
Can it be all type of solutions?
Can it be all types of solutions?
All types of solutions. Anything. All types of solutions are also there, not only problems. So we were in, all came because of dictionary, dictionary. Oh, it's already 4:30. We will take it up on Monday, okay? Now, two things very important for all of us. Today about in our sadhana, how to develop this feeling which will lead us to the self-surrender, and then something about the dictionary, how it silently gives us so many clues. So let us try to dwell upon it. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Pranam, pranam. Pranam, pranam, pranam. Pranam, pranam. Sakshi Ben. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Namaskaram. Seri, seri, seri. Pranam, 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 pranam. Kramam, ya. Oh, terima kasih, Widya.